भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled Creation, Chapter 6, Conversation between Narada and Vyasa, text number 32. Deva Dattam Imam Veenam Deva Dattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhusitam Swara Brahma Vibhusitam Murchayitva Harikatham Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanaha Charami Aham Gayamanas Charamyaham Devadattam Imam Prinam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhusitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhusitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
Devadattam Imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Harikatham Gayamanas Charamyaham
देवदत्तामिमां वीणां
Devadattamimam veenam
स्वरब्रह्मा विभूषितां
Swarabrahma vibhushitam
मूर्छयित्वा हरिकथां
Murchayitva harikatham
गायमानश्चराम्यहम्
Gayamanas-charamyaham
देवदत्तामिमां वीणां
Devadattamimam veenam
स्वरब्रह्मा विभूषितां
Swarabrahma vibhushitam
मूर्छयित्वा हरिकथां
Murchayitva harikatham
गायमानश्चराम्यहम्
Gayamanas-charamyaham. Everybody online? Devadattamimam veenam Swarabrahma vibhushitam Murchayitva harikatham Gayamanas-charamyaham Devadattamimam veenam Brahma vibhushitam Murchayitva harikatham Gayamanas-charamyaham. Synonyms: Deva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna.
Dattam,
Dattam,
gifted by.
gifted by.
Imam,
Imam,
this.
this.
Veenam,
Veenam,
a musical stringed instrument.
a musical stringed instrument.
Swara,
Swara,
singing meter.
singing meter.
Brahma,
Brahma,
transcendental.
transcendental.
Vibhushitam,
Vibhushitam,
decorated with.
decorated with.
Murchayitva,
Murchayitva,
vibrating.
vibrating.
Harikatham,
Harikatham,
transcendental message.
transcendental message.
Gayamanaha,
Gayamanaha,
singing constantly.
singing constantly.
Charami,
Charami,
do move.
do move.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation: And thus I travel, constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. Translation with repetition. And thus I travel,
And thus I travel,
constantly singing
constantly singing
the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord,
the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord,
vibrating this instrument called a veena,
vibrating this instrument called a veena,
which is charged with
which is charged with
transcendental sound
transcendental sound
and which was given to me by Lord Krishna.
and which was given to me by Lord Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The musical stringed instrument called the veena, which was handed to Narada by Lord Shri Krishna, is described in the Linga Purana, and this is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. This transcendental instrument is identical with Lord Shri Krishna and Narada because all of them are of the same transcendental category. Sound vibrated by the instrument cannot be material, and therefore the glories and pastimes which are broadcast by the instrument of Narada are also transcendental, without a tinge of material inebriety. The 7 singing meters, namely Sha, Sarja, R, Rishabha, Ga, Gandhara, Ma, Madhyama, Pa, Panchama, Dha, Dhaivata, and Ni, Nishada, are also transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Dev is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument, and thus he is always engaged in singing his transcendental glories and is therefore infallible in his exalted position. Following in the footsteps of Srila Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the sound meters, namely Sa, R, Ga, Ma, etc., in the service of the Lord by constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So what a wonderful verse that we have from Bhagavatam. And who are we discussing about? The transcendental spaceman Narada Muni. Devadattam imam beenam sarva brahma vibhushitam murchayitva harikatham gayamanas charamyaham. Unfortunately, in the serials or in the TV or in movies, we see a picture of Narada Muni, which is quite contradictory to what is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And sorry, only Lord can save those people who depict Narada Muni in such derogatory manner. Here it is mentioned, Devadattam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam. Devadattam imam veenam, the Veena, the musical instrument which was given by the Lord, Devadattam imam Veena, Swara Brahma Vibhushitam. So this verse is so poetic also. Murchayitva Harikatham. I mean, the words selected in Bhagavatam by Sukadeva Goswami are no ordinary words. And when they are put together in the right meter, it produces a certain emotions in your heart. Devadattam imam veenam swara brahma vibhushitam murchayitva harikatham gayamanas charamyaham. Charami is to walk. Gayamanas, constantly glorifying. What is constantly being glorified by Narada Muni? Murchayitva harikatham. He is glorifying constantly harikatham. Why and how he is doing that? He is doing that with a veena, the veena which was given by the Lord himself. Krishna was very pleased with Narada Muni after all these things that we have seen, and we will see that again. So Devadattam, the veena which was given by the Lord, which is decorated with Swara Brahma, which is decorated with transcendental sound, Swara Brahma Vibhushitam. And how did he use that? Murchayitva Harikatham. He just used it for glorifying the Supreme Lord. Gayamanas Charamyaham. And singing like that, he continued to travel. This verse actually we should memorize. I mean, it is so nice meter and so nice. If you want to remember the picture of Narada Muni, we all know that he carries that musical instrument, Veena, with him. But what does he do with that? And how does this musical instrument work? And did anyone know that it was gifted by the Lord? They're all very powerful things. If I have to look into this translation, okay, let's see the translation one more time. And thus I travel constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord. I travel, charami, singing the transcendental message of the glories, gaya manas, murchayitva harikatham, message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument. Vibrating is murchayitva, vibrating this instrument called a veena, imam veenam, which is charged with transcendental sound, swara brahma vibhushitam, and which was given to me by Lord Shri Krishna, Devadatta. Let's understand some points from this translation. Very wonderful translation, and there are a lot of things to unpack in this. Translation says, and thus I travel constantly, singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound, and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. If I break down this translation, first point that is coming is Narada Muni travels constantly. And I travel constantly. Okay, you're traveling constantly. What do you do while traveling constantly? I'm singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord. Murchaitva harikatham gayamanas charamyaham. He is traveling constantly and his Murchaitva harikatham. He is singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord. How do you sing? What do you do? What is the means? Vibrating this instrument called veena. Imam veenam. Devadattam imam veenam. And what kind of veena is that? Which is charged with transcendental sound. Swara Brahma Vibhushitam. Very good. It is charged with transcendental sound. Where did you get it? Devadattam, given by Lord Krishna. But even if I have broken this translation into 5 points here, there is one significant point which is missing. Anybody wants to point out? The translation and the points, the breaking down of the points. Gayamanas is there, constantly singing. First point itself. Narada Muni travels singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord. Charged is there. Swara Brahma Vibhushitam. Given is also there. Vibrating this instrumental called veena is there, no? Yes. Yes. Very important point is thus. Actually, some of the verses can be overlooked if we, ठीक है, Narada Muni को वीणा मिला और गा गा के चला. But there are deep things which are there in this verse which needs to be seen. And thus is actually coming from the previous verse. Something happened in the previous verse. That is why Narada Muni is, I'm traveling constantly, singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called a veena, which is charged with transcendental sound, and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. What is the thing that happened in the previous verse? The translation is, since then, by the grace of the Almighty Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the 3 divisions of the material world. It's a very powerful thing. Antar bahischa lokam strin pariyemi askandita vrataha anugrahan mahavishnor abhighata gati kvachit. Abhighata gatihi. Narada Muni's travel is unrestricted. There is no restriction. Abhighata gatihi. He can travel to the spiritual world, he can travel to the 3 planetary systems. How did he do that? Because anugrahaya, there is a mercy of Krishna. Anugraham mahavishnor. Mahavishnur mercy was there and he is able to travel. And why did Mahavishnu bless? What was the reason for Mahavishnu to have anugraha, to give blessing to Narada Muni? This is because askandita vrataha. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. So you see, askandita vrataha, because Narada Muni is constantly engaged in devotional service, he got anugraha, he got the mercy of Mahavishnu. Because of the Mahavishnu, avigata gatihi, he is able to travel. And because he is able to travel all over the planets, what is he doing? He is gayamana harikatham, murchaitva harikatham. Gayamana, he is constantly singing murchaitva harikatham. How? By a veena which is given by the Lord. Devadattam imam veena. What kind of veena is that? Swara Brahma Vibhushitam, which is charged with transcendental sound. Bhagavatam is one book which is filled with examples, narrations of different people who come from similar ordinary material backgrounds like any one of us and achieve the highest transcendental realizations, like Narada Muni, achieve Krishna Prema. It's a very powerful thing. Now, to understand this, what is the significance and how does someone do that? Bhagavatam is unfolding this in the pages that we've been seeing throughout, like so far, how Narada Muni's, he got this transcendental body immediately. Tadit Saudamani Yatha, like the lightning flashes. Like that, immediately in that Kalpa, when he quit his body, he got a transcendental body. And that transcendental body, even if it enters into the body of Mahavishnu, it comes out in the same form. And the same facilities are available where he can travel. And he's using it for constantly glorifying the Lord. He's using it for devotional service. Why he's doing this? What is the need? For that, let's examine our own lives. Interestingly, our lives are kind of a mystery. Why? The reason why it is a mystery, I've put both male and female so that nobody thinks that probably I am an exception here. We all take birth and we remain for some time, we grow, we produce some byproducts, we dwindle, we become old, and we die. Now, this is a fact which is applicable to each one of us, but unfortunately, the stage of life where we are in, we are so engrossed, we always miss the big picture understanding. We don't really think we were a kid at some point in time, unless there is something, some discussion or some topic which is coming related to that. We don't always remember that we were a tiny little fetus inside a mother's womb. We took birth someday, then we went to some school, or we don't realize that we are also going to grow old, like the man who's walking with a stick. I'll also go through that. We don't remember that we are going to die. This is our state. This is the state of illusion. Anybody who has accepted a material body in this material world is so deeply engrossed in this illusion. We think we are this body, we have to do our duties, we have to maintain our family, we have to take care of our bodily needs, and life goes, and we don't remember this big picture. Always, like that jigsaw puzzle, you need to have a big picture understanding of what's going on. And for each one of us, the world is so designed, the material nature acts in such a way, we don't remember that. We don't remember that this is going to happen to me. In the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 20th verse, if you remember the instruction which Krishna gives to Arjuna, na jayate na mriyate va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya, ajo nitya sasvatayam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sarire. In that verse, Prabhupada in the purport explains that a soul which accepts body goes through the 6 transformations, which I was just trying to say. Takes birth from the womb, all of us we took birth, remains for some time, we remain, we don't realize, those time is spent in those activities. Hardly anybody remembers, but the child who's in that stage, he's busy, he's engrossed in that, he's happy, he's self-contented, he's self-satisfied, and he's just doesn't know. Remains for some time, then we grow, we realize, oh, we become young man. Okay, what to do now? You become young man, I should get married. Okay, you get married, what happens? I should produce children. What after that? We are busy taking care of our children. Then what happens? Gradually we dwindle. Time takes away the vitality, the life force from us. The body, which is made up of matter, becomes useless. Gradually dwindles. It happens. We see the symptoms manifesting in our own body. When we are doing some activity which we used to do with great competence and dexterity at some point in time, now we feel it incapable. We feel invalid. Gradually it dwindles and vanishes into oblivion. Ho gaya life, over. क्या किया मतलब आया मंदिर आया सुना कुछ किया नहीं लेकिन कुछ करने का मन ही नहीं करता है I don't want to do. And here example is given Murchayitva harikatam gayamanas charamyaham. He's constantly glorifying. Why does he do this? Let's do further analysis. First, we need to understand, why did we get into this illusion? How does this illusion come about? Very nicely, this illusion, how it is created, it's very nicely given in Bhagavatam in a verse which comes in the first canto, 7th chapter, 5th verse. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manute nartham tat kritam chabhipadyate. Yaya sammohito jiva. Jiva, a living entity, when he accepts the material body, when he takes birth, he gets bewildered. Sammohito. Yaya sammohito jiva. Samyak rupena moha. Complete bewilderment. There is no escape. There is if somebody becomes little cognizant and becomes aware, this is in store. Another 30 years is what you have. Whatever, 30, 40, 60, 70. That's all the time span that you have. Perfect your life. Get out of the cycle of birth and death. Doesn't strike us. Yaya sammohit. Happy birthday, bata. Gaya. Admi pura bhul jata hai sab kuch. Yaya sammohito jiva. Atmanam trigunatmakam. One considers oneself to be produced of this trigunatmakam. Paropi manyuta. Even if I am transcendental, I don't belong to this material world. I have just accepted the body which is deteriorating, which I have to give up one day and go. I don't remember, I don't realize, I think this is what I am. Paropi manute anartham. And I go through all the miseries. Tat kritam chabhipadyate. No choice. We just go through this. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. This is the illusion or the ignorance of living entity about his own constitutional position. We accept ourselves to be this body, and that illusion intensifies, it grows throughout our life. It doesn't come out. It is impossible for a person to come out on its own. It only becomes intensified. Why? Because we are under the control of the external energy of the Lord. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartham tatkritam chavipadyate. Bhagavatam gives wonderful examples, illustrations to say that how this intensifies. Recently there was a class which we were hearing of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada gives this example of a person who's pulling rickshaw. Usually you'll find it in Calcutta, maybe in Mumbai also. I don't know in which other place. But these two places, Calcutta still it is there. Very inhuman, but you see that it is there. And what example Prabhupada is giving is, imagine this person he says that he has seen a Brahmana with a thread who's pulling this rickshaw. In India they say it as Thelawala. Right, so the Thelawala or whatever, rickshaw puller who's going, there is a car which is behind that, and that fellow is addressing, hey rickshaw, move, hey Thela. They don't say even Thelawala. Hey Thela, you move. We've all heard this. Deep ignorance where a person is addressing another living entity to be a rickshaw or to be a Thela or whatever. Sometimes they say, hey car, you move. This is what happens to us when we are deeply engrossed in this material world by the covering of external energy. Prabhupada gives the example, suppose I am sitting in a car, nice Rolls-Royce car, and somebody comes, hey Mr. Rolls-Royce, what are you doing? Mr. Rolls-Royce? What do you mean by Mr. Rolls-Royce? You are sitting in Rolls-Royce car, right? So you are Rolls-Royce. No, I'm not Rolls-Royce, I'm just sitting in the car. But this is what exactly the problem that we go through. We think we are this body. Deep-rooted, very strong this illusion. And I have to maintain this body, I have to take care of the bodily needs, and time goes. The intensification of the illusion happens when this important thing in our life happens, that's called marriage. We have a marriage, then I have a wife or I have a husband, and then I'll have kids. Then if I have kids, then I should have a house. Then I will invite friends and relatives, please come to my house. We have a nice house, how nicely we are living. I have to explain, I have to show it. Bhagavatam says, Atmajaya Sutagara Pasu Dravina Bandhusu Niruddha Mula Hridaya Atmanam Bahumanyate. Atma is body, Jaya is wife or husband, Suta is son, Agara, Agara is house. Atma Jaya Suta Gara, that's all? No. Pasu, animals. Dravina, wealth. Bandhusu, friends. Niruddha Mula Hridaya, this is the deep rooted illusion. These are all mine. Atmanam Bahumanyate. Such satisfaction, whatever state the person is in, doesn't matter which condition of life he is in, but there is a satisfaction he is feeling. Where is this satisfaction coming from? With one's standard of living is due to deep-rooted attraction for body, wife, home, children, animals, wealth, and friends. This is my house, my body, my children, so cute, my wife, husband, this is my animal, these are my wealth, these are my... And in such association, the conditioned soul thinks himself quite perfect. This is how time goes. This is how illusion covers us. This is how it blinds our vision, and we continue in this life. Then, what do you think there is no happiness? What is material happiness then? We are all happy. We don't care about all these things. Bhagavatam says, wake up. What is that happiness that you are experiencing in this material world is Griheshu kutadharmeshu dukkha tantreshu atandritaha kurban dukkha pratikaram sukhavan manyate grihi. Griheshu kutadharmeshu, in a household life, there is kutadharmeshu, there is a lot of falsity. I may be really not liking him, but what to say, what to do? I am stuck, I am living with that. There is politics and there is diplomacy, is what Prabhupada says. Gruheshu kutadharmeshu dukkha tantreshu atandritaha. We are inviting miseries because of atandrita, because we want to gratify our senses. Kurban dukkha pratikaram, and there is misery which is coming, somehow I am checking that. Kurban dukkha pratikaram, I am able to protect. Some misery came, with all my intelligence, wealth, money, power, influence, I could protect. Sukhavan manyate grihi, this is happiness. See, misery came, I could counteract it. The attached householder remains in his family life, which is full of diplomacy and politics, always spreading miseries and controlled by acts of sense gratification, always spreading miseries, dukkha tantreshu, and controlled by acts of sense gratification, atandritaha. He acts just to counteract the reaction of all his miseries. And if he can successfully counteract such miseries, thanks, that's all. I am happy. These are all instructions of Kapila Muni to Devahuti. So it just goes in sequence. Then somebody may question then, okay, what about birth and death then? In death everything is finished, no? We came, we lived for some time, theek hai, misery mila, khatam ho gaya. He answers, what is birth and death then? Jivo hi asyanugo deho bhutendriya manomayaha tan nirodha asya maranam avirbhavastu sambhava. Jivo hi asyanugo deho bhutendriya manomayaha tan nirodha asya maranam avirbhavastu sambhava. What is birth and death? In this way, the living entity gets a suitable body with a material mind and senses according to his fruitive activities. So you get a body. Actually, body is not just this gross body. The subtle body, mind, also goes to the next body. Like the aroma travels in air, the air carries the aroma from one place to another. Similarly, this mind also travels from one body to another. And depending upon the fruitive activities that we are doing and the desires that we have, living entity gets a suitable body with a material mind and senses according to his fruitive activities. When the reaction of his particular activity comes to an end, that end is called death. You have a sanchit karma, you did lot of karma you have accumulated, some reactions you got, then something were in store. So whenever that reactions of those karma are over, that is called death. Ho gaya, this life, this much time was given, all the reactions of your past karma are over, now you die. And when a particular type of reaction begins, that beginning is called birth. Again, you accumulated so much of fruitive activities you have done, you have accumulated, now you have further desires, based on that you accept another body. And this process continues. Very unfortunate situation. And look at the illusion of material world. Every one of us, we are busy. Busy in something, busy in this is important to me, that like this activity I have to prove, I have to do, and all frivolous, trivial compared to a spiritual perspective. Nothing is important in this material world, but we are busy, caught up. Another interesting thing which we need to remember, because we say, no, this is my family, this is my house, this is this thing, my parents, my brother, my sister. We have to remember we are all by ourselves, alone. The verse which comes in Bhagavatam, Eka prasuyate jantur, Eka eva praliyate, Eka anubhungte sukrutam, Eka eva cha duskrutam. Eka prasuyate jantur. When we take birth, we come alone. Nobody comes with us. Eka prasuyate jantur, Eka eva praliyate. When we die, we go alone. Nobody comes with us. Eko anubhungte sukrutam, Eko eva cha duskrutam. Whatever actions I have done, past actions, I only suffer for that or enjoy that. Every creature is born alone and dies alone. And alone one experiences the just rewards of his good and evil deeds. Then what is the solution? The solution is we have to elevate ourselves from this material platform to spiritual platform. We have to understand the temporariness, the frivolous pursuit of life, which has always frustrated us, which has always left us with nothing, and elevate ourselves. How do you elevate? This is what is given. This is what Narada Muni told. In fact, in the beginning, when he met Vedavyas, if you see in the first canto, 5th chapter, 8th verse, Sri Narada uvacha bhavatanu dita prayam yasho bhagavate amalam yeneva sotu natushyeta manye tad darshanam khilam. Whose mobile is it? Bhavatanu dita prayam. So he is telling Yaso Bhagavata Amalam. See, Narada Muni is addressing Vedavyas, understanding his position and situation. He appears and he tells that, oh Vedavyas, please broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. Glories of the Lord are spotless. We are his part and parcel. We are eternal. This covering is temporary. When we realize our position with respect to the Supreme Lord and his glories, he is constantly waiting. Which life will you turn towards me? Forget about all this. This house, children, this thing, they're all illusion. Look towards me, come. His glories are spotless and sublime. So he's telling, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy, which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord, is considered worthless. Very important point actually. The moment this body which is given to us, like the veena which is given to Narada Muni, of course the veena was transcendental, our body is material, but this is given by the Lord. Moment we engage it in his service, moment we use every single moment of our life in glorifying the Supreme Lord, our life transforms. We feel happy, satisfied, and at the end of the life we become qualified to go back to him and not accept anymore this temporary body and go through these miseries. Bhagavatam says what is the way out. Very interestingly, this is a verse which comes in the Bhagavatam 10th canto. We are reading now Krishna book. Tava vikritam Krishna nrinam parama mangalam karna piyusham asadya tyajante anya spruham jana. Tava vikritam Krishna. Actually, the activities of the Lord are so wonderful. Tava vikritam, wonderful pastimes. Tava vikritam Krishna nrinam parama mangalam. For the people who are caught up, absorbed in this deep slumber and the illusion, and they don't know how to come out. This is nrinam parama mangalam. This is the most auspicious thing. Karna piyusham asadya. When we hear this is like nectar entering into this. Tyajante anya spruham jana. This is the only way one can give up anya spruham, other materialistic desires. There is no other way. When one understands his true position, like why he is doing Murchaitva Harikatham, what is the need for Narada Muni? Because this is not just glorifying, this is not just auspicious for us, it is auspicious for the whole world. So a large, huge scale broadcasting is required. Tava vikriditam Krishna Nranam Parama Mangalam Karna Piyusham Asadya Tyajante Anya Spraham Jana. O my dear Krishna, your pastimes are supremely auspicious for mankind and are intoxicating beverage for the ears. Tasting such pastimes, people forget their desires for other things. That is why in the purport it is mentioned that Narada Muni took it as an obligation. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Dev is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument. And Prabhupada mentions Narada Muni, Veena, as well as the Supreme Lord, all are transcendental. Because why this is transcendental? Because it is coming from the Lord, and Narada Muni's body is also transcendental, and the swara which is produced is also transcendental. Fortunately, unfortunately, we are also very fortunate in one way that we are chanting the names of the Lord. This sound vibration is transcendental. What does this word transcendental mean? Transcendental mean now I'm producing so many sound. I'm saying something which you are able to understand. That is because every word that I'm producing has a meaning. What is the way out? So what, I know what is the meaning of the what. Is, I know the meaning of that. The, I know the meaning of it. Way, I know the meaning of it. Out, I know the meaning of it. Now if you start talking to me in Tamil and you start scolding me, but you don't show any facial expression. Okay, what is that? Enna pandriya and something and all you say, whatever, very nicely. I don't understand. You might be scolding me, but I am thinking, okay, so he's probably praising me because I don't understand. There is a meaning of the word, and that meaning of the word, if it is not known to me, it is not making sense. Whereas in transcendental thing, when I'm chanting the names of the Lord and the names, they are same. This is the biggest secret. When we are chanting, when we are glorifying, we are talking about the Supreme Lord. We are non-different. It's actually the Lord is present. What is that verse? Tatra tishtami Narada yatra gayanti mat bhakta. When we are singing, when we are chanting the names of the Lord is present. When we are glorifying the Lord, when we are hearing His pastimes, the Lord is present. When we are chanting actually Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Lord is dancing on my tongue. This is the beauty of this, and this is only available in this Kali Yuga. That is why there is a verse in Bhagavatam which says even the demigods aspire to take birth in Kali Yuga. Yes, there are so many problems, so many difficulties, but going back home, back to Godhead is easy. Because this is transcendental sound, and this transcendental sound one needs to chant constantly as Narada Muni is doing. That is why when a devotional service is given to us, we should embrace it. Not that, oh, this is not to my liking. मैं थोड़ा अलग type का हूँ ना, कुछ अलग देगे क्या? होता कौन है तू? Who are you? It's a privilege given to you. Do this devotional service. No, मैं तो थोड़ा different हूँ. आज तक ऐसा किया नहीं. कैसे करूँ? Our situation is something like this. Now imagine there is a person who's on the deathbed and he has a will to write. He's about to die. So he's going to give $500 million. But for that you have to reach, because his time is very limited. If you don't reach on time, then the money will be given to government. So you started from your house, you are aware of it, you're running for it. Yeah, $500 million milne wala hai, daud rahe ho. And suddenly what happened? In the road you found a $5 bill. So you say, $5 bill, कैसे छोड़ सकते हैं? भगवान का है, छोड़ो, उसके पीछे भागा, and you are going and the money is flying further. You go here, there. Finally, you could not reach there. The $500 million is gone. Our position is something like this in this material world, where instead of being absorbed with the Supreme Lord, instead of understanding our true position that I have been given this privilege to be engaged in devotional service, we hanker for some cheap material happiness, something like a $5 bill. Keeps us so busy in this material world. Running, idhar udhar. And we justify, $5 kaise chhod sakte hain hum? How can I live? How can I give up this $5? $5, $500 million. $5 is important to me. If you twist it a little bit, let's say you have the $5 bill in your pocket and you are going and somebody comes and steals that $5, right? So he has stolen the $5, then you start, how can you steal $5? I have caught you. I will not leave you. Arguments, fighting. Either we, are busy looking for some petty material happiness in this material world, or we are arguing with someone. अरे मेरे को बुलाया नहीं सर्विस के लिए, मेरे बिना कैसे सर्विस होगा? मैं नहीं करूँगा. Whose loss? So whose loss? It's our loss. $500 million is awaiting there. But instead of that, we are busy with some petty things in life, fighting, proving, saying that this is important to us in life. Fooling us actually. When we cheat Krishna, we get cheated ourselves. We remain in this illusion, in this material world for longer time, for eternity. We can't cheat Krishna. So Krishna sees our honesty, our deep sincerity within heart. What is the intention behind this person's coming to this temple? Is he really convinced that this material world is temporary? Is he really free from? That is why the definition of bhakti as given by Rupa Goswami is Sarvo Upadhi Binirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. All the designations has he given up. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. All the senses engaged in the service of Rishikesha. Bhakti Ruttama. That is the Uttama Bhakti. The ending of this purport, Prabhupada is writing, following in the footsteps of Srila Narada Muni. We have to follow in the footsteps. We can't imitate. A self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the sound meters in the service of the Lord by constantly singing the glories of the Lord as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Where it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? Ananyas Chintayanto kaha hai? She is saying as confirmed in the Bhagavad, constantly singing the glories of the Lord. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhabrata namasyantascha mam nityam nitya yukta upasate. That verse. It says comes in the 9th chapter. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Always, every single moment, it's a privilege to be engaged in devotional service. To remember this, to remember the big picture that this is a temporary place where we are chasing after some illusion and understanding what is really important to us, which can satisfy us. If we do that, then we'll also come out of the cycle of illusion, cycle of birth and death. I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question but not directly related to this verse. In the morning, in the Mangalarti prayers, when we offer the prayers to Nitai Gauranga and Prabhupada, and the last line we say, to be engaged in your personal service.
Okay. The prayer that we
after Narsimha
is keep us under your shelter and bless us with your personal service.
Yes, and the slides, the word that is used there is only service. What is the purpose of the first, the purpose, desire, and the middle slide that comes. In that we only say the purpose of japa is worship, associate, and service, and beg to be in your service. What is the difference?
There's no difference. So, the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer where the purpose of that is you are asking for service. Right? Specifically, the word personal is not mentioned there, but our philosophy is personal philosophy. Right? There it is referring to the holy name. Here it is referring to the deities. You are asking the deities. Actually, in the neophyte understanding is when somebody thinks that the Lord is only present in the deities. So, किसी को बुला के लाया इधर ये कर दिया, and then you say, everything is there with the deities. Deities are the Lord, and I take it. This is required, not that it is not required. But higher understanding of that is, like Prabhupada gives the example, like a Madhyama Adhikari. See, imagine a king who comes. King never comes alone. King will have his minister, king will have his soldiers, king will have so many things. It's not that only, when the king came, doesn't mean that the king came alone. He came with his associates. Similarly, the Lord also comes with his associates, with his devotees. Madhyama Adhikari sees that, there are devotees of the Lord who also need to be respected. Uttama Adhikari, he sees everybody is Krishna's devotee. So they don't discriminate. They don't just because out of some deep-rooted illusion, somebody has become averse to Krishna, doesn't mean that he's still spirit soul. He sees how I can engage him in Krishna's service. So the word personal in that case may be referring to the deities, but that is the Kanistha level Adhikari, and we are all in Kanistha level. If we transcend or if we advance, then we can see that everything is Krishna's. There is nothing like. So what is this verse in Bhagavad Gita in the 12th chapter where Krishna says that he is dear to me? That is Mitra and Satru, what is that? Who can see them with equal vision. He is dear to me. So for a devotee, who's dear to? Actually, if you ask me, honestly, this is a good question, going somewhere here and there, but the point I want to drive is, you see, we have been having so many things materially, right? We have had some nice pizza, we feel it, we enjoy it. Somebody who's a drunkard or an alcoholic, he drinks, he gets some pleasure. Somebody who's a smoker, he smokes for some time, he gets some pleasure. Now we have been chanting Hare Krishna mantra 2 hours every day for so many days. How much of pleasure we are getting in that? Honestly, nothing comes, right? So somehow we would finish. Somehow, I remember in Bangalore there was a devotee who was to come morning and he'll chant. While chanting, he'll do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. He was doing one day, his specs fell off. It flew. फिर उठाया वो, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. तो क्या जपा हो रहा है कि एक्सरसाइज हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है पता नहीं. I mean, he was trying to focus, probably, but his specs went off. Why do we not relish? Why are we not able to relish? Yeah, but actually the reason is in our antakarana, the inside thing, antakarana, that's used in Bhagavatam, it is not pure. We are envious. We have pride. If I did something, I feel proud. If somebody else does something more than me, I feel jealous. I feel envious. And with those things, you cannot relish Krishna. So chanting is a repeated prayer. If you really understand, like whatever Madhupanit Prabhu has given, if you just take even 10% of that, it's such a great honor that 2 hours the Lord is personally present before me. If I am able to hear him, I am able to serve him. He's not just present impersonally, not like somebody like a famous personality walked in here and you saw him and he passively he just left. You are having a personal, intimate relationship with him when you are able to hear. But how unfortunate we are. Somehow chanting kya, kyun, all kinds of doubts. So that is why when somebody says, मैं तो 14 साल से chanting कर रहा हूँ, धोती कुर्ता देखा मेरा, तिलक कैसा सीधा है, none of those matter. Because ultimately it is our own journey, and no other person other than we ourselves know where we are. You can fool everybody by so many things, but what is going on inside you, you know it and Paramatma knows it. So if we genuinely feel and if we are sincere and we want to come out of it, then Krishna reciprocates very nicely. Otherwise, just goes on. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, was there?
No.
There is a direct instruction here. I just want to understand how to understand this. Material, following the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni, a self-realized soul in the material world should also properly use the sound meters, namely Sa, Re, Gama, etc., in service of the Lord by constantly singing the glories of the Lord. And elsewhere, Prabhupada said that if somebody is describing Kirtana, that if somebody is, say, having cooking service or some other service, in support of someone who is similarly doing, say, Sankirtan, that is also Sankirtan only. So if supporting someone who is doing Kirtan is also Kirtan. So like this also there is a statement, because any service is absolute in nature. But there is a direct instruction here that one should use it constantly singing, like that very specifically he's saying. So how to understand this instruction really?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding in this will be that, the same sa, ra, ga, ma, pa, whatever those 7 swaras are used even for material songs. People can compose material songs and sing. Same swaras are used. But this is a transcendental. It is meant for the glorification of the Lord. That is the first thing. It is not, you're not supposed to do some material songs and start singing those things. Second thing is, now what if I don't know singing? Or what if I'm not good at it? I may like to glorify the Lord, but I'm not capable of. Okay, even if you're not capable of, there are levels. Okay, you engage in some devotional service. Your cooking itself is glorification of the Lord. Your engaging in some other devotional service is also a glorification of the Lord. You don't have to feel any less just because you're not able to speak or not able to sing or not able to do something. That's what it is. So what Prabhupada says, when somebody is engaged in temple and doing any service, just cleaning, who comes and notices this? Of course people notice, but sometimes, some small corner you have cleaned which nobody has seen or nobody noticed, still it is devotional service. Because you are cleaning, you are engaging yourself in it's a representation to the outside world, or it is for the Lord. He has seen that you have done that. So that is what matters. Ultimately, what Lord sees is nothing, none of our abilities. He is seeing our intentions. That's all it is. Intention in the heart makes all the difference. If I have a mentality to cheat, I'm cheating myself. Somehow nobody is there, nobody cares, so I'll do whatever I feel like. This is actually that $5 bill, and somehow, no, $5 मिल रहा है अभी, 5 को मैं 7 कर सकता हूँ, 7 को 10 कर सकता हूँ, and we are busy with that instead of focusing on Krishna. Online, any question? Does that help, bro? Balram, bro, sorry, I didn't ask this. Okay, if no question, we'll stop. There are wonderful instructions further, another 4 or 5 verses in this chapter. What happens to Narada Muni further, we will see that. And it's just so instructive, Bhagavatam, if we pay attention and if we sincerely follow the instructions of our spiritual master, do it properly with the right intention, our life also will be transformed. The Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam